Now, what's the appropriate way to address this situation? May you have the most joyous, not quite. May this be a happy Agatha, no, not quite. May Agatha all along fill you full of gayness and mirth? Because isn't that the direction that they're going on? Everything that I hear regarding this show is the gayest this, the gayest that. So I'm thinking that they're jubilant about this production. Hell, we're hearing behind the scenes that Marvel is awfully proud about this one. Oh no, they're talking proud and gay. They aren't using the old King's English sense of the word. Oh, now it's all starting to make sense. It's all queer to me, but Agatha All Along's first reactions, because it's interesting, right? They can give you first reactions. They can't actually drop reviews because they don't go live, or the embargo is right up until the minute right before the first 2 episodes drop on the series, which definitely isn't a sign of bad things. No. It's definitely not a hallmark that we've seen play out before, like even earlier this year in regards to Marvel with Echo. You remember that? Nobody does. But the shills have their marching orders. Yes, it's Kathryn Hahn. Oh, isn't she such a wonderful talent? You remember her in such productions as... Well, you don't, but she's so great as Agatha, right? This repurposed character that originally in the source material is the Fantastic Four's babysitter. But hey, she had that hit song from the Disney Plus Marvel show back in early 2021, so nothing like striking while the iron is ice cold. But I assume later today you're going to have the first 2 episodes, and the release schedule of this limited run series it's a little odd. It's different than what Disney and Marvel normally does. It's actually quite a bit queer, if you will, because there's 2 episodes that drop on the first week, and then for the subsequent 5 weeks, there's going to be 1 individual show drop. And as there's going to be 9 episodes of this, which is again just an odd number. Normally it's 6 or 8 when it comes to Marvel. I'm pretty sure Wandavision was the longest at like 11, but yeah, mostly like their sweet spot is somewhere between 6 and 8, unless of course you're Echo, where they just drop that in the middle of January, the second week of January, and then just hope that everybody forgets about the 5 episodes that they cut down from 8. But because we're approaching spooky season, and then they think, oh, we got this witch show, and we could drop it right now. But this is supposed to be the follow up to our $1.5 billion hit. Oh God, skate quickly over thin ice. But there's a reason, right? Like they're dropping. This is every streamer with one of their big budget, highly produced, highly promoted shows. They drop 2 episodes on the first week so that they can go ahead and say, hey, look at that. We charted in the ratings. We're right up there close to the top. Unless of course your Rings of Power, and it's like, well, we're close to the top, sort of. Here's something that we've also noticed following all of this Marvel stuff is, they might pop a rating in the first week when they're doing these interesting release metrics. By the end of it, nobody's watching. They've completely fallen out of the rankings, or they're scraping the bottom of the barrel of the top 10. So this time around, maybe it's to line up with Halloween, because that's when the finale coincides. They're releasing 2 episodes there, and the only reason that I can think about them doing this type of a release schedule is because they're trying to boost the finale ratings, just showing, hey guys, look at it, it's just as successful. But I really don't think, because we are eventually going to see the reviews, we're going to hear the pundits talk about this, and I think it's going to go along the same lines as like Hawkeye, Moon Knight, What If, just disposable fare that nobody remembers and nobody talks about when it's going on. Like, this is a relatively dry spot in entertainment, and even still, nobody's excited about this. This is a holdover from a previous regime, obviously, but like I said earlier, and many people have reported, apparently Marvel's proud about this boring ass show, this big gay boring show. I was like, okay, that's nice. And it's supposed to be, like, check this one out for a second. It's supposed to be the 2nd installment in a WandaVision trilogy. Make that one make sense. WandaVision was supposed to be the first chapter. Agatha All Along is supposed to be the second, and it's supposed to culminate in a Vision show or movie or something like that. Well, how does Multiverse of Madness fit into that? How do you square that circle? But again, this is goofy-ass Marvel prior to The Purge, and they've been sitting on this completed show for well over a year. closer to 2, and it was either release it now or when nobody's paying attention, or try to find a way to write it off for tax purposes. But we'll see. It would really shock me if this is A, a hit, or B, even passably decent, because everything that we've seen about this, I've done a couple of videos over the past week, and none of this looks appealing at all whatsoever. And hell, a lot of the marketing is really, giving you a strong deja vu from a lot of other Disney productions under that umbrella. Maybe not under the Marvel collective, but still under the Magic Kingdom banner. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see, or maybe we won't, because nobody's going to remember this show this time next week. Because apparently the first couple of episodes, yeah, if this is what you're doing, right? Because normally, okay, outside of just the sheer vanity projects of releasing a couple of things in order to try to pop a rating, because you normally shows, if they're competent and good and they grab you off the bat, they don't need to do this trickery, this witchcraft, if you will. The purpose of a pilot used to be there so it would grab an audience and get them to come back for the second episode. Like the last time that I can actually recall a pilot grabbing an audience, setting up a series appropriately, was probably Game of Thrones. That's over a decade ago at this point. But that entire practice in Hollywood has basically gone out the window thanks to the advent of streaming, and now everything is just a limited run series. Everything's already bought and paid for. There's a season or two already commissioned, and then by the end of that run, they're memory hold and forgotten. Everybody's moving off to something else. We'll eventually have to return back to that because there's only so much money to go around, and we're at the Slurpee sounds at the end of the straw right now. So stay tuned when that gets turned around, but this is what we're hearing coming out of it. It's Agatha show, right? Starts slowly with the first 2 episodes, similar to Wandavision start. No. Okay, like there's a lot of revisionist history that's gone on. The first, 3 or 4 episodes? That was generally considered to be the best stuff before it eventually just devolved into regular Marvel slop that had culminated in a giant laser beam battle. The interesting sitcom-y stuff from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, all the way up until the 90s and 2000s. Yeah, that was the stuff that people were actually intrigued by. It's like, ooh, you're working at a bunch of other Marvel references that are in there that kind of tie into Wanda's life. What exactly is going on here? So to try to revise that as being, oh, that was the slow way that WandaVision started. No, that's not the case at all. But once the witches begin their journey on the witches' road, it begins to kick off. It might not be as twisted as the marketing makes it out to be. Oh, but it's still creepy and eerie. Yeah, and we're just talking about the actors and actresses that are affixed to this show, because what do we hear about this? Okay, so A, it's slow. B, it's, guys, it's actually going to improve, which would once again buck the trend of Marvel and Star Wars fare. Normally it starts off as good as it's going to get, and then it quickly descends off of a cliff. And that's not like you're, starting up like a 6 or a 7. You're normally, setting your expectations low at like a 3 or a 4 potentially, and then it eventually just delves into the 2 to 3 range if you're lucky. After Disney marketed The Acolyte as the gayest Star Wars project, Aubrey Plaza. Why is that so difficult to say? I don't know, everybody says that she's hot, but I don't know, man. She's about as mid as it gets. And others say Agatha All Along is the gayest Marvel project. Yeah, we got some cringe clips that are right here. Okay, first and foremost, we got this Sasheer Zamata, and we talked about her before. I forget which video it was specifically, but she was coming out and she was already laying the groundwork that this was going to be the gayest Marvel show because, hey guys, I'm gay, and everybody already looked at her and went, yeah, we know. But she came out and yeah, she had the quote and she reiterated it here on the red purple carpet that witches are queer inherently just because we're outcasts and set aside for many reasons. It really does harken back to The Acolyte and Amanda Stenberg and Leslie Headland being interviewed by Entertainment Weekly, I think, or something like that, when they were talking about this is going to be the gayest Star Wars ever, because nerds are outcasts and because nerds are gay. Oh, is that the talking points going around? Is this an overcompensation for Disney canceling The Acolyte? Are they doubling down on this, or are they using this as trying to be an olive branch to those spurgs on the internet? But here's the thing. All of those Acolyte fans that are out there trying to fight the nasty bigots online, they aren't going to make the connection between The Acolyte and Agatha. Like, that doesn't work, okay? The alliteration with 2 A's to begin the name of the show is not going to work. The reason that The Acolyte was something that they tried to gleam onto, of course it had its box ticking and all that regular DEI crap. It also had Star Wars attached to it. The big name for whatever it's worth in today's day and age. No. It was an official big budget Star Wars project, proudly and unapologetically leeching off of George Lucas's legacy. That's what The Acolyte was. Agatha, this time around, like, nobody's looking forward to this. Nobody's even expecting much out of this. This is not going to work if you're going to try to use this as a make good. Even if you're giving all of the answers that you would expect these freaks to, because we've also heard this rhetoric, yes, from The Acolyte, and then also in a previous Marvel fair, like especially on the red carpet of the Eternals, and how well did that work out? Oh, cool. So you're modeling your promotional material after two of the biggest failures under the two biggest brands in Disney. Very interesting, but what does Sasheer have to say?
It's been described to me that Agatha is the gayest project Marvel has ever done.
Yo, what does that guy sound like? Harvey Fierstein with throat cancer. It's so funny, right? Like, you can see, I don't know whose agent, PR thing in the background right there. They just heard the totality of that question, and it's just, you physically see them manifest the cringe that we have all been subject to with all of these goofy questions. But, oh wait, I've got a couple of more clips, and you're going to find a very common through line with this Variety reporter.
Agree?
I would agree with that, yeah.
Why is it?
You'll see. You'll see when you watch it. But, you know, I think witches are queer inherently just because we are outcast and, like, set aside for many reasons. And I think this show shows a really good representation of different types of people, and that...
Yo, like, I'm watching her eyes too, and they're just searching for just any answer to this vacuous question that she can possibly find. You know, like us witches, we're like outcast in society, and it's really tough for us witches, like the real life witches. Is that what you're trying to draw a parallel to? Okay there, crazy lady, but I'm so glad that you're going to get a paycheck off of this. But the previously mentioned Aubrey Plaza, now that I got it right this time around, this is another clip that was making the rounds because she was asked a similar question by San Francisco personified with a bow tie. And some of the quotes that she generated off of this answer have been making the rounds, but I don't necessarily think that they're fair to present without giving you the proper context. So yeah, Aubrey Plaza reacts to Agatha All Along being called the gayest Marvel project yet. It better be, because that's what I signed up for, and well, we'll give you the context.
I'm told, I've seen the first episode,
oh my
but
God.
Agatha is the gayest Marvel project yet. Do you agree?
It better be, because that's what I signed up for.
Just her delivery, and I understand that, you know, she does the whole deadpan, aloof thing, and that's kind of her gag. But doesn't that kind of sound like, oh my God, like this asshole just asking me once again about, you know, gay this, gay that? It's like, yeah, no, it better be super gay, because that's definitely what I wanted. I'm not trying to let her off the hook, because I'd imagine she's probably just as willing to do all of this stuff. Same that Sasheer and Kathryn Hahn and whatever that little twink's name was. She's just as vacuous as every other actor in Hollywood. Like, she goes along to get along. I'm not trying to rescue her at all. Just, she seems to be at least the most honest through vocal intonation that we can glean off of this purple carpet. That is, of course, until we go to the star of the show, Agatha herself. Agatha All Along bringing up the rear with Kathryn Hahn opining on a hypothetical season 2. Well, should you be? Because we're hearing so much enthusiasm from the cast that, oh my God, it's going to be the gayest Marvel property ever. Oh my God, everybody's so excited. Like, take a look at the tens of people who turned out to the premiere. But Kathryn Hahn provides her dream guest for a hypothetical season 2 of Agatha All Along.
The second season, who would you love to be in it?
Well, there definitely will not be, but...
Oh, there definitely won't be a second season? Oh no, then you wouldn't want that to get out there to the public. And thank God that's the least viewed clip that's out there, because as you can see, this one's got 44,000. The Aubrey Plaza one just about has 1 million, probably at the time that you see this it will. And then this extra from Alien Romulus here, you know, she's got over 250,000 views on it. But the star of the show can only amass 44,000 views when she admits that, yeah, this one's going to be a one and doneer, okay? It's either going to be setting up something or... yeah, in actuality, there's nothing to this, okay? It was greenlit off of a couple of memes 3 years ago. It's really gonna suck. It's gonna be totally disposable at best, and it's gonna be a trash fire at worst. And quite frankly, I don't know if we're ever going to figure that out, because if a show gets released on a dying streaming service and nobody watches it, did it ever really happen? But we'll have to check in at a later date, because at this point in time, who knows? And that might end up being the follow-up. What was Agatha All Along? Who knows? So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.